This podcast was recorded prior to the coronavirus outbreak. Changing Opportunities, the Switch Now podcast. Hello, I'm Ross Watchman, and welcome to the Switch Now podcast, a chance for you to find out how we work here at Switch Now. For all of you who don't know, Switch Now is a community interest organisation that helps people like me to learn about the world of work and eventually help to find employment. In this series of podcasts, we will be giving you a tour of all the places we work at and meeting the people who we work for. Plus, we will be meeting our staff and our co-workers. But first, let me give you a tour of Switch Now HQ.
You're listening to the Switch Now podcast.
So here we are outside Switch Now headquarters in Eton-Zoken. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to help people get into work. Let's go in, shall we? So as we go in here, we have a little reception area. We have a board with everybody's face on. We have a reception desk and sign-in book. Keep note of everybody who comes in and out every day. We have an office area where staff prepare work for us to do and have various meetings as well. We have a kitchen/sitting area with table and chairs where we have break and lunch every day. We have a storage cupboard over here that houses equipment when we go to places like the farm. We have wellies, we have lawnmowers, everything in here for the farm. We're going in now to the kitchen area where we're making sandwiches, and this is Rosie.
Hello everybody, we're making ham and cheese and egg mayo today.
Lovely, and this is for the homeless.
The homeless, yeah. We take them round to one of the places round the corner and they distribute them, the Rotary Club.
Lovely. Very, very worthy cause. So that's the kitchen, and next door we have the workshop where we find Alex and David working on a project. Tell us what you're working on here.
Well, I found this scale. It used to be a potato scale. It used to be a pile of rotting wood and rusting metal tangled in a head, literally a head. But after a lot of work, we eventually found the torn and rotted nameplate, and from that, found the company that built it, and they sent us photos of what it used to look like. It's like putting a jigsaw together, except you don't actually have the jigsaw, you just have the picture.
Yeah, it's coming on great, lovely. So in the workshop we have loads and loads of different tools. We have drills, we have nails, we have tape, we have clippers, we have hammers, saws, everything you would expect in a normal workshop, we have it here. Here's Ian.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And you're working in the workshop. I've just spoken to David about the project that we're doing, and it's coming along really, really well.
He's done brilliantly. It's been on and off for a few months, but there was nothing left there was metal bits that wasn't there. That was all we had to start off with, and David's managed to recreate the whole thing. So we'll get it finished, get it stained, painted, and then up to Jeff at the farm.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So that's downstairs, and if we be very careful and make our way upstairs, as I am doing now very carefully, we find a little sitting area where the staff usually have their lunch every day. We have loads of stuff dotted around. We have a lot of food up here ready to go to Switch Social, which usually happens on a Tuesday. We have loads of stuff up here, a lot of it donated to us, and these have included records, old bits of furniture, stuff like that. Mostly donated to us. We have a little meeting room with a Mac computer and loads of equipment for recording audio, which I'm doing right now, and for videoing as well. We have a camera and tripod, we have recorders, we have headphones. All of that is kept in here safely so it doesn't get damaged. And a lot of meetings take place in here when parents come to have a look to see if Switch Now is right for their sixth form leaver, if they have learning difficulties, as have I. So that's the meeting room, and next door to the meeting room we have Mark and Catherine's office where they work every single day, and they are the directors of Switch Now. We'll have an interview with one of them a bit later on in the podcast. So this is their office, and if we go round here we find a little office space for staff to work, and here's Jeanette. Hello, Jeanette.
Hello.
So tell us about your role here at Switch Now.
I deliver the qualifications that we have at Switch Now, and I'm also oversee all the catering, what goes on with all the catering, like teaching the cooking and organising the sandwiches for the homeless and things like that.
Lovely. And you enjoy it, don't you?
Very much.
Lovely. Great to talk to you. And that is the tour of Switch Now headquarters. So, that's a tour of the site. Now, let's find out what a typical day at Switch Now is like. Here's some of our co-workers to explain.
Hello guys, my name is Elliot and I've been at Switch Now since the September just gone, and what our typical days are at Switch Now is such things like Samuel Pepys, so we tend to help with the school group down at Paxton Pits and sometimes at the farm, and sometimes we go in the workshop and make a few things to sell. Sometimes there's also the kitchen, which I personally don't go into that much, but I know that we cook quite a lot of things. Sometimes we bake cakes, things like that.
Hello, this is Sean. What a typical day for Switch Now is like Paxton Pits, Riverside Miniature Railway, and there's also cooking as well as Cath. This place is to help you get ready for work and all that, to help you with work in the future. And so there's workshop, off-site, as in like farm, and some stuff we can do up here like gardening. We started doing the allotments as well. This is the typical day at Switch Now.
Hello, my name is Livy Garrett, and at Switch we start at 9:30 until 3:00. We work as a team and we like to do a lot of different things, and it's all about gaining our confidence and teaching to do like new skills. And I like the people in Switch. I think they're all really nice and really helpful, and it's a good opportunity for me to come here because I know how much I really like coming here to see everyone and focusing like on my work. And I like to be in a kitchen and make some cakes, and I like to help around, and I like helping out with other people, and also I like to research on a computer, going in a workshop, because it just gives me a lot of like confidence to prove that I can do like a lot of painting skills, and it's just to show how much I can really do this. Also, what I like is going to deliver the sandwiches with most of the guys, and also work with other people, and it's all about fun and excitement and plenty of opportunities in Switch. I feel really great coming here because it just shows me how much I can be a lot more comfortable and be myself as well.
Changing Opportunities, the Switch Now podcast. And now you may be wondering how Switch Now came about. Well, let's speak to director Mark Hawking to tell us more. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
And it's great to talk to you here on the Switch Now podcast.
Looking forward to it, Ross.
Firstly, I'd like to ask, you came from a teaching background, so tell us about that first of all.
I started my teaching career many years ago now, and throughout my career I have worked with many young people, some that I still work with now that I was worked with in a education setting, but I always found the outcomes for people that I was working with to be quite low, in the sense that they, guys weren't deemed to be as employable as potentially anyone else that's been through a mainstream program. So that was part of the thing that I never understood as an educator, why there was a difference. So as I continued my career, I ended up looking more into that, and from that gave me an interest to think, actually I can create, and myself and Catherine can create something that we can help people to move into the world of work.
So when did the idea of Switch come around, and how did it start?
So myself and Catherine got together, and we both said to ourselves, we can create something that's more effective, more meaningful potentially than where we were. We both happened to be moving on in our employment career, and we ended up just thinking, what can we do to make a difference, and how can we do it? We've done our research, a bit of market research into what was already out there, looked at how we could formulate it and create it, and it just sort of was a bit of I have some sort of epiphany, where I just sort of come up with lots of ideas. How can we formulate it, put it into a plan, and that plan turned out to be Switch Now CIC.
And it has continued to help many people ever since.
It has. Scarily, we're coming into our 5th year now, so it'll be 5 years in the summer. So we're just over 4.5 years, coming into our 5th year. Subsequently, it's really surprising. It's still going as strong as it is.
Do you feel proud to be part of it?
Of course I do. Of course I feel proud, because it went from nothing through to where it is now, where we have our own site here based in St Neots. We have lots of our co-workers now that we work with on a regular basis, and we have grown. We're probably more effective now than what we ever thought we would be when we first started.
Lovely. Stay there, Mark. We'll come back to you right after this. Coming up on the next edition of the Switch Now podcast, we begin our tour around the sites we work at, starting with The Farm, just down the road in Southo, where we will be interviewing Jeff and his team to discover the ethos behind the site and their vision for the future. We shall also be discovering how the team found the remains of a lost house. Join us next time to find out. But right now it's back to our interview with Mark Hawking about the origins of Switch Now. May I ask you, Mark, about some statistics about Switch Now?
As I mentioned earlier, we started with 2 co-workers back in 2015. As it stands today, we have worked with, or are working with, up to about 60 people over the course of our 5 years. So you can see how we've grown from 2 originally in 2015 to where we are now, and we've grown, like I said, we're working with just under 30 people on a regular basis, but over the course of our time we've worked with roughly about 60 people. So from 2 to about 60 from where we were, ever accumulated with almost 100% increase, well, massively 100% increase in our numbers. But I think the main thing I'd like to talk about is when we actually move people into places of work and actually move them into meaningful outcomes. So out of the people that we've worked with, we have increased people's opportunities to take part in training. So that's sometimes in-house, where we deliver some training courses, or we deliver some qualifications if that's required. Obviously, we look at all meaningful outcomes, so we also have moved people into voluntary work. We've obviously, and this is the most important thing, we've moved people into paid employment, and that's crucial to what we want to do, because that's why we set Switch Up Now, which was to help lots of people like yourselves to move into paid employment.
Lovely. So I'd like to ask you now if you've got any plans or hopes for the future of Switch Now.
I suppose at the moment we are looking at how we can grow what we do, grow the offer that we currently have. Whether that means that we look at another premises somewhere, or we look at how we can work in different areas. We do have lots of interest from people from within Cambridgeshire, but we also have people, we are very close to the central Bedfordshire borders, and there's people that are interested in what we're doing here, because there is nothing like Switch Now across the county. There is nothing like Switch Now within the area. You know, there are things like colleges where people can go and study and learn, but the focus is in classroom-based activities. Here, we actually get people working. People learn from the work that they are doing. So hopefully you guys are learning how to do the podcasting and using all the equipment and interview techniques and editing and all the other stuff. And hopefully you are gaining things from that. But it's also all the other things you guys are gaining, working in partnership, working in a team, problem solving, following instructions, being independent, building confidence. All those skills that you will need for work are the byproduct of all the things that we do at Switch Now.
And just finally, for any parents listening to this that have a student who has just left sixth form, and given that they have learning difficulties or a disability, what would you say to them if they are wondering where to come next?
At the end of the day, it's down to the young person plus the parents to make that decision. However, you don't always have to go with the normal sort of options. You know, default can sometimes be post-16 and college opportunities, but there are other things out there. For example, us at Switch Now. I'm sure, Ross, that I know a little bit of your background and your story. You know, you found it quite difficult to consider college as an option because you found it a bit overwhelming. I think that's fair to say. And you felt it wouldn't be quite right. But hopefully, since you've been here in September, hopefully that we've definitely seen a massive difference in you, and we're hoping that you recognise that difference in how you are developing and flourishing while you're here at Switch Now.
Very much so, yes.
Good.
Mark, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us.
Cheers.
That's it for the first edition of the Switch Now podcast. Thank you very, very much indeed for listening, and we'll be back again next time. The Switch Now podcast was presented by Ross Watchman, compiled and produced by Ross Watchman and Sean Mardlin. Following the COVID outbreak, Switch Now reopened on Monday 7th of September 2020, following necessary government guidelines.